So, this morning, I didn't do any real video, anything for this morning until now, because I had some phone business I had to handle. So, if you are in a business position, and I use the word business position vastly, you gotta watch. You gotta watch how you respond to people. What I mean by that is, when somebody calls to speak with you about a situation, good or bad, okay? Good or bad, you should handle it in a professional manner no matter what. Because if you don't, okay, for instance, if I call you because there's a discrepancy in paperwork or something you had sent me, you need to make sure that when I call you, that when you have that conversation with me, you have that conversation with me in a very professional manner. Trying to dodge my questions, trying to evade the situation is not the way to handle anything. Evading stuff in life, no matter what, it's not a good look. I always feel like you should always take everything head on, and I know that's kind of like a broad, stern statement to make, but I really do feel like it. If you got a problem at your job, handle it. If you got a problem with your spouse, handle it. If you got a problem with a friend, handle it. Don't try to avoid conflict. And I'll tell you why. Because if you avoid the conflict, then you prolong the problem. The more you prolong the problem, the more that problem's going to be there. And you're not going to get rid of it. It's not going to go anywhere because the other person or party might not be even hip to the fact that it's a problem. So if you do your best to avoid the conflict, then it might not ever get solved. And then you got the other side of the coin, where you have a conflict that both parties are aware of, but because there's no confrontation about it, it goes unresolved. Sometimes, and I say this with as much grace as I can, sometimes you just have to duke it out, man. Like, sometimes you have to fight. And I know that's not the, like, humane approach. I don't know how to put it. I know that's not the approach everyone wants to take. I understand, like, fighting, conflict, exchanging words to get a point across is not everyone's strong suit, and I'm not saying it needs to be. I am saying, though, that you've got to handle it. And as annoying as it could be, as ridiculous as the situation might be, as much as you'd rather not, it's all the more reason to get it solved. I see too often people putting things aside and letting things get out of hand because they don't want the conflict of it. They don't want to deal with it. They'd rather try to ignore it. Which, and ignoring things is a good thing when it's things that are small. Like, if you have a pet peeve, and it's literally something in your head that you could put off, put it off. You don't have to be confrontational over everything. I'm not saying that. I am saying that if it is a legitimate problem, and it is not something that you can just simply overlook, and that you need to actually address it. You have to. For a lot of reasons. For your own, mind stake. You got all those thoughts, all those hesitations floating around in your mind, and it doesn't help. Like, this world's already stressful. There's already a lot of junk that's on everyone's plate on a regular basis already. Like, the last thing you need to do is add another worry, another problematic issue, another distraction to your plate. If it's a big deal, it needs to be treated like it's a big deal. If it's something that is truly affecting you, it's something that you need to, lean into, engage, and solve. And, sometimes that solving is painful. Sometimes it's an argument you don't want to have. Sometimes it's a battle you really don't want to fight, but it needs to be done. Too many times anymore, I keep getting, messages from friends and from family asking me how to solve or advice for a problem that they have going on, which I'm cool with. I love helping people out. That's kind of my mantra, man. Hence the Superman thing. That's one of the things I love to do. I love to help people. I mainly love to help people because I feel like that is one of the things that are in my control on this earth, is the ability to help others. If you can help somebody, you should help them. That's just my mentality. I'm not saying that I go broke and hand my money out and everything else, but I help where I can help, and I do what I can do, because that, I feel like, is genuinely a God-given responsibility. However, all too many times these problems or these issues that I'm being asked about are issues that only exist because you won't deal with the confrontation to fix it. Sometimes you just gotta fight. Sometimes you gotta argue. Sometimes it's gotta be a full-on, knockdown, drag-out argument. And sometimes you gotta walk away. Sometimes that fight is so severe, that problem is so real and so, evident in everything that you got going on, that sometimes that argument leads to disillusion. Sometimes you have to dissolve your friendships. Sometimes you have to dissolve your family ties. Yeah, you might be related by blood, but that doesn't mean that you have to, contact them anymore. That doesn't mean you have to, they need to be a part of your life, or you need to be a part of theirs anymore. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But you have to have that confrontation. You just do. It's the only way sometimes to actually appease a situation. That's just my take. I mean, I'm sure there are peace, love, and harmony gurus out there that are going to say otherwise. Oh, we'll just meditate and forgive, or whatever other line of stuff that they've got out there. And I'm not saying that that might not work. I'm not saying that won't work for you. What I am saying, though, is in my experience of my 32 years on this earth, in this life, my 32 years of experience, says that sometimes you gotta fight. Sometimes you have to fight. You have to just throw down and have it out. That's it. I'm on my way to work. I highly doubt there's going to be any content from today, because today is going to be I'm down a person, so because I'm down a person, today's going to be interesting, because I've got timelines that have to be kept, even though. So, I'm going to leave you guys with this thought for at least this part of this video. If there's something in your life that is draining on you mentally, that's draining on you, do it. Handle it. Well, that day went fast. I didn't record anything because, like I said earlier this morning, there wasn't going to be anything to really record, and I was right. It was quite a boring day with no real excitement, just a lot of work. I will say this much, though. Today did not go as badly as I thought it was going to be. So it kind of balanced itself out, which was nice. I'm not leaving to go home like completely mad or angry about anything, because it actually balanced out. But yeah, I mean, good day. Tonight's not a training day, however, I don't know. I might do some bag work. I don't know. I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna enjoy some time with my kids. I've been trying to make it a little bit more to where I'm more accessible to them. It's hard because when you have 5 kids on top of a full-time job, their school, and other things like doctor's appointments and whatnot, which, by the way, speaking of doctor's appointments, Connor went and got shots today and completely rocked it. Like, he got them. Now, of course, this is not my account, this is Julie's, but, you know, she told me, you know, he took the shots and was like perfect. He kind of pouted a little bit for a few minutes and then he got over it and he's doing great. So I'm pretty happy about that. Anyway, when you have 5 kids, it gets really, really rough to give individual time and to make sure that attention's being divided amongst all of them. Not like it's hard to give them attention, but it's hard to live adult life and do father work too. And I call it work because it's work. Being a father, being a parent, okay, is not easy. I'm going to say being a father is really hard. I'm not saying mothers don't have it just as hard. Mothers have it hard too. Fathers struggle in a different spectrum than mothers struggle. So I can vouch for my end. I can't speak to being a mom because I've never been a mom. I've had to substitute what that looks like. Like, I've had to be a father and a mom to my kids. I've had to be the disciplinary strong hand, and I've also had to be the nurturing, caring, loving, affectionate end too. But I can't really speak to being a mom, so I'm not going to. I can speak as far as being a father is concerned. It's rough. It's really, really hard to be a active, completely engaged father. Reason why it's so hard to be fully engaged is because I've got a lot of responsibility. Not just to my kids, to the house, to my job, to my fiance, to a lot of different avenues. Like, I have to be very attentive towards supplying all of those roles with the proper love, attention, respect, etc. And it gets hard because you have a lot of struggles in doing that. I'm gonna have to pause. I got a phone call. So I'm back because I'm gonna squeeze through traffic. Just like I was just talking about, roles change constantly. Right now, I gotta be the role of a son. My dad just called. I guess Spectrum is like forcing the whole digital thing down everyone's throat now. So they're getting digital boxes to operate their TVs, because before they just had the regular cable hookup. So I got to go do that. This right here is exactly what I'm talking about like the different hats that I have to wear. And dads all have to wear them across the board. Son, father, spouse, worker, co-worker, boss, whatever. It's not easy. It's actually a really, really hard game of failing. And I say failing because you can't appease everybody. You can't hit the mark with everybody. And it's rough. It sucks at times, I'm not going to lie. Because like right now, I'm going to have to call Julie and let her know that I'm going to be late getting home. And this is going to kind of put off some of the plans I was just talking about playing with my kids. It'll get done, but it won't be like I wanted it to be. And so in my mind tonight, when I lay down and I go to sleep, in my mind, I'm going to be playing if I had different job hours, I could have fit this in today. And that's all I do. I played the game of what if in my mind. It's not good. I'm not saying that it's okay. But I'm just saying that that's how most men operate. It's rough. Well, I'm going to make this turn, and I will, I guess, see what happens when I get home. So, tonight did not go as according to plan. I didn't get home until like 7:45-ish. I didn't get to really hang out with the kids much, or Julie, for that matter. I did, however, get my mom and dad's TV pretty much working. The rest of it, Spectrum's got to do. They're having an issue getting all of their channels to come up. But their TVs are at least working as much as I could get them to work. Like I said, a lot of failing. You just keep striving every day to do better. That's all any of us can do. Strive harder to do better. I'm going to call it a wrap. Get ready to go to bed. I have a feeling I'm going to have a long day tomorrow. Especially if this storm that we're supposedly supposed to get hits. We're supposed to get a nasty snowstorm overnight. So, we'll see what happens. I don't know. You guys have a stellar Wednesday. And I'll get with you guys later.